All right, welcome everyone. We today have Miss Valerie Graham here with First American Title. Thank you for joining us, Valerie. She's going to talk a little bit title. If you guys have questions about anything title, I'm not sure exactly her outline, but I trust her fully. She's been a trusted partner and friend of mine for a while. And do you want to just kick it off with E&O?
Sure, absolutely. So thanks for inviting me to your meeting, and appreciate being here. We're going to go through my first dam today, and I'll show you a number of different things that you can do with that tool, and certainly make sure that everybody gets access to it if you don't already have it. But as Bruce said, kicking it off with the O&Es, that's ownership and encumbrance, and it's a $5 report that you can run on a property. So, you know, kind of the script and scenario that Bruce was describing, you don't know, right, what may happen on a property. You run into clients and they're extremely nice and you think everything is good, and especially if they've indicated any work that has been done, roof, windows, etc., that it's good to just pull that O&E on the property to see if there's any existing liens that would need to be cleaned up during the transaction. So my signature has a box where you can order those O&Es. Unfortunately, we can't give them away for free. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. So we can't give them away for free. So it is a $5 charge. And I'll make sure that after the meeting, you all have a link. It's just a good practice to get into when you're getting ready to list a property. You're walking in knowing about that property prior to even that listing, which again helps you in your consulting process with a client.
Let me give them a real world example. So I'm pretty diligent about doing O&Es on properties. And last year, I think just coaching and just everything I had going on in life, I had a property that I did not run an O&E on. And I should have. Okay. And here's the biggest reason why O&Es for $5, you guys, it's a tax write-off for one. For two, it can save your butt. All right. So I did not do one last year. And I did the seller's net sheet for them. And I did it based upon their word of mouth. They said they owed X amount of dollars on the property from their first mortgage. I asked them if there's any liens or encumbrances, any second mortgages, HELOCs, anything like that. And they said, oh yeah, we have a HELOC on it. So I asked them what their balance due on that was, and I did their net sheet. If I would have ordered an O&E, I would not have been in a pickle in the middle of the listing. So we went under contract and we got the contract order to title. Title starts doing their title work, sends out a title commitment. And these folks had 3 court-ordered judgments against the property. There was one for like $3,400, $4,800, and like, I don't know, $7,000 something. So it came out to be close to like $15,000 that they were not netting that I told them that they would net. This person was very, very.
And even though you tell them that net is an estimate, they still zero in on that amount. And expect it, regardless of it being an estimate. So
very, very much so. Very much so. And she was frustrated with me. She said that I should have known this. Now I could have known, I shouldn't have known this, but I could have known this if I would have ran O&E. And I thought, gosh darn it, the day that I decide not to do it is the day that I run into a pickle. So that's a real life example of why it's important to do so. You can't trust. It's not that you can't trust your sellers. It's not that you can't trust your buyers, right? We say buyers are liars and don't trust your sellers. Honestly, what it is that they just don't remember. This lady she totally forgot she was in court 8 years ago and didn't pay those bills.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Which is, kind of a nice segue to my first dam and the things that you can pull before you go into that listing appointment. So things that you can learn about it. So does anybody have any questions about the O&E and that process before I jump into the system?
Are you going to show us how to order?
I can show you how to order O&Es. Give me a second. I also shut all my other screens down so that, because sometimes my dexterity with my mouse, like, how do I get myself off mute? Right. So just a second here. Let me see if I can pull one up for you.
Do you know how to share the screen?
Yeah, I do that, except for I'm just trying to figure out why my emails won't come up.
Yeah, no worries.
For some reason. Huh. It is not going to let's walk through my first dam, and then at the end, I'm hopefully, hello. Oh, I forget you're in Ohio. It's awesome. She's getting so cute. I think she was a baby the last time I saw her, Bruce. Yeah, so awesome. Let me jump in to show you my first dam, and then at the end, I'll see if I can't get my emails for whatever reason are not coming up, and I will then show you how to order an O&E. And I will certainly follow up with an email too with the details from the meeting as well. Okay, so let me share my screen, and I probably will. Oh, here we go. Let me get to this. I probably will go off camera while we do this, just so that I think everything should work okay, but I'll leave it on camera. If it becomes slow, let me know, okay? Excellent. So let's do this. So does everybody see my first dam?
No. So Valerie, what you have to do is on your Zoom page, jump down to the button that says share screen. The green button in the middle of your
there we go.
page.
There we go. Now can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, yeah, but it has the E&O report with name search for 9037 County Road 57.
Well, there we go. So E&O report, because okay, so let's see. Let me go back to share new screen. Let's do this one. Why? I don't want that one. I don't want that one. This is a screen I want to share. Sorry about this.
No, it's okay. It takes a second to figure out Zoom.
So do you see it now?
I see your email, your mailbox.
Oh boy. My emails are a nightmare, so you don't really want to see my emails.
If you have two screens, you can always drag it over to. It looks like you're opening up email.
Well, I did, and I shut both my screens down because it was causing some issues, but I may go ahead and just open it up. Bear with me. Sometimes when I have multiple screens open, it's hard with the, there we go. So the only thing I have up is all right, let me open up a screen.
Do you want me to go to my first dam? I can reclaim host and do it for mine.
No, because then thank you for the offer. I don't mean to delay it. Let's see here why it's not letting me open for share screen. Let's see if we go to this screen and open up my first dam there. Oh, it's the mouse. That's the problem. And I know you're recording this too, so I apologize. Come on.
It's okay. Don't panic.
I have one screen open. Why is it not letting it grab it?
Yeah, I mean, if you hit share screen, you got to kind of view that whole desktop, I think.
Yeah.
But it's probably because you have two monitors. You might just be clicking on the wrong monitor.
No, I've shut that monitor off. You know what? And it's not because you're the host, right?
No, I made you host.
Okay. All right. I apologize. It is not letting me grab it at all. Here we go. Entire screen window. Let's go. There we go. Can you see it?
There we go. Yep.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody.
All right.
So this is what my first dam looks like. And as I said, if you don't have access, and I can check, if I have everybody's names, I can check to make sure whether you do or don't have access and set you up if you don't. And we also have a mobile app. And so that one is pretty cool as well once you get set up in the system. And I'll talk about that too. So essentially you just sign in. And what we're going to cover in My First Dam is one, doing a property search. So you can look up things like Bruce was talking about, look up to see what financial transactions were have taken place on the property, have access to public records to include the deeds on the property. And what's really beneficial in that, because I know in other systems you might be able to get the public records, but not necessarily the actual deed. And what's beneficial in that is sending it to your sellers and having them look that over early in the process in case there's anything that needs to be addressed. You know, a name change, a misspelled word, a name, a divorce or a marriage. Any of that, you know, can be cleaned up during that process by providing them that document too. And it just shows that you've taken the time prior to going to your listing to look at their property and understand what's going on to the best of your ability, as well as doing a net sheet. So kind of any questions on that before I get started? And I have a quick reference guide on this too, and I'll do individual sit down when somebody is getting ready to go through it and help you as well. But for the most part, I want to show you those. And then if time allows, and I don't know how much time we have, Bruce, but I'll also show you farming and what you can do with a farm through this process. Okay. So just for ease of use, I'm going to pull up my address. And you'll see that it's starting to type now because I've pulled my address up a couple times. It's already listed here, but let it go through the process of typing it because you might spell drive. It may not be recorded as the drive spelled out. And so it's just beneficial to be able, and you can see here, there's a couple different ways in which it's been listed here in Longmont. I'm just going to grab that and run a search. So this would be something you would want to do prior to having a listing appointment. I rent this house, so these are my landlords. And over here, and is the screen too small? Can you see it, everybody? Okay, I'll leave that as a yes. I know what it's like to get off mute. So there's a couple different options that you have here. You can do a combined report, which I don't recommend. I recommend that you run the property profile and the transaction history. The combined report includes all this information here. It's a lot of data. And with the comparable sales, it may not, you know, it may not do what you're going to do when it comes to looking at comparable sales out of your MLS. And it could pull in 25 properties and kind of skew the information. So you certainly have access to it, can run them individually. I just recommend the two primary ones that you focus on would be the property profile and the transaction history. And I like to run the transaction history first. So in this situation, I'm going to run that. And you can see here what, when the sale happens, this one's pretty simple. They purchased it in 2020 and they financed it for $262,000 in 2020. Their sale price was $467,000. Some properties, and we can certainly do some examples if we have time, there may be multiple things, as Bruce mentioned. They could have a HELOC, they could have refinanced it. They could have been in the house for a number of years. So a couple key things here that I also look at is one, when was the last time when was the last time a financial transaction that created a title policy occurred? And they purchased this one and the mortgage was recorded October 1st of 2020. And as I said, it was for $262,000. I'm going to note that because if a title policy was generated in the last 5 years, First American will recognize that title policy and give a discount, for lack of a better word, in a new title policy. So if it's within the first 2 years, we give a 50% discount. In Colorado, we don't do that in every state. Every state's a little different, but in Colorado, and between 3 and 5, it's 30%. And I'll show you how that shows up on a net sheet. Okay, you can PDF the report, email it, or print it. I recommend that you do a PDF of the report and then download it. And that way you're in control of when you send it to a client, and you've got a copy of it. Okay, so it just generates that PDF, and then here's the download. Probably first. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so then I close that, and now I'm going to run the property profile. And the reason I run the property profile after I do the transaction history, some may do it differently, but I like to train this way, is because because in the background, when I'm creating a net sheet, I want the property profile kind of open, but in the background, so that tax data and other information pulls in to my net sheet. Okay, so a couple key things about the property profile. The legal description is right here. So it's going to tell you exactly what you need to put in your listing, that legal description. And then within my first stam, this is public record, so you can access it in other ways as well, but we have links to the actual deed, and you can pull up the deed as well. So I think that that is important. You know, what's interesting about this too is in this particular property, you know, they have listed where the mailing address should be, but I can tell you when it's been recorded, the city, or whoever recorded it, I get a lot of the mail that should be going to this address here. Some key important information, I've sent it on and said, hey, but you know, so some things they miss, which is the other reason why it's also beneficial to provide that information to your sellers. But here's the actual recorded deed. Okay. So you can do same thing, PDF the report, email it, or print it. I always recommend PDFing it so that you have it and you can send it with the transaction history if you choose to the seller. Key here is I would check this box before you run the PDF. That way it's going to include the actual deed. So I'll let that run. It's going to take just a minute, and then I'll download it like I did the transaction history. I think it's working. Yeah. Sometimes my patience when it comes to these things. I'll see if it'll do it in the background. So I'm going to close this, but it's going to stay in the background. And so now when I get ready to do the net sheet, that information is going to pull in. We do our net sheets right here. It's called Cost First. It is a third party. It is required that you have this downloaded as well when you do the mobile app, but you'll never log into Cost First directly, and you'll always want to go through My First Stam, because then you've got the property details that can pull into it. Okay, so I'm just going to hit continue there. It's just telling me I'm going into a third party. And then this is what it looks like. You know, there are options, you know, quick quotes if you need to run a quote on what title is going to be and you can't access me, or Kyle Snyder, my business partner. Seller multiple offers. Some of those are here, but really I think for the most part, our clients use the seller net sheet. And that's what this looks like here. And I have created a cheat sheet on how to do this. If I'm never available, if you're working on doing them, I'm happy to also put them together for you. So depending on what's going on, but I think it's important that you know how to do this too. So here, because I'm preparing this, it has my name, but if you were preparing it, it would have your name there. Who I'm preparing it for. Sometimes this pulls in, sometimes it doesn't. Don't know why it didn't. Here's the address, and then and the zip code information. Here's the annual property taxes, right? Based on 2020, I believe is what's pulling in here. The last time that the taxes were run. Are we pulling 2021 yet? I don't think so. I think that probably happens more in the middle of the year. Anyway,
coming out.
So let's say we're going to put this. Oh, what was that, Bruce?
I just said it'll be coming out shortly.
Yeah,
we'll be running
absolutely. And then this system will get updated as well. So I'm just going to say we're going to list the house for $725,000 and watch what happens. So what is going on right now is it's coming up with what the escrow settlement fees are, as well as the owner policy. Now in Colorado, and I do have a sheet that indicates who typically pays in Colorado. Usually the escrow fees are split between the seller and the buyer. And then the seller pays the owner policy. Okay, so that's what happened there. Now, if there was an existing loan, I think it was $260,000. So I can plug that in here, right? Now it was 2020. If it goes, past a year or two, we do recommend that you look to see what maybe their existing mortgage would be. And I can go through that afterwards as well. I just kind of want to show you this net sheet and how it works. But you can also just leave it with what you know it to be based on the transaction history. And then when you're sitting down with a client, you can adjust this, right? They will say, oh no, I only owe $250,000 now because I've been paying on it for a few years. So that's where you put that. If there's a second mortgage, you could put that here, a third, so you can indicate that information here to help with this estimate. So up here, it already included that information. As I mentioned, First American does honor if a title policy has been pulled in the last 10 years or 5 years, excuse me. So what I'm going to do here is pull up the calendar. I know that they purchased this on October 1st of 2020, and watch, it's spinning here, and this title policy is going to get reduced substantially, 50%. See that? So this number went from 2,000 and something to, is double to this 1,000. Now, if you don't put that prior policy date in, it's okay. Again, this is an estimate, and it will get settled up during the process, during the title work process. But if you know and you want to let them know the title company that you're working with honors that, then you can embed that information there. Okay. For the most part, I just zero these out, all of these here, unless any of them that but these all I zero out, and again, my information says that. Here's where you would put your listing agent. Say you're going to do a 2.8 and a 2.5, and this number is just going to change. As you can see, you can put whatever number is appropriate to put in here, and then that tells them what the total fees are going to be there. Now, I always zero out the outside closing fees, but if you know your client is going to need a notary, maybe you leave it. And again, I do have a cheat sheet for this. So I will provide that after the call as well. HOA fees, this property isn't an HOA. let's say it's $140 a month. I just put that in there and I leave it as a flat fee because we're looking at, as you see over here, the estimated settlement date is a month out. So we're looking at, a flat fee of a month that the seller is going to be responsible for. Because it's an HOA, there's a transfer fee. So I always leave the transfer fee at the $400 because it is, amazing how expensive those have gotten. Other things that I always recommend that you put in is water. In Longmont, we're holding a minimum of $350, and sewer the same. Just because the city requires that we hold that money back for their last bill, and the seller will get the overage either at the time, it'll get trued up at the time of closing on the final settlement documents if we get a final water bill from the city, or after closing, the city will provide any refund that is due to the client if they've paid too much. The other thing, I don't know, if you've got TC fees or anything like that, but these fields, are editable. So you can put whatever you need to put in here, and then you just put those amounts. Okay. Over here, these are other costs. Again, if there's anything that know that you need. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, can I, this is probably something that I don't go over a ton in our coaching program.
Okay, perfect.
When she says TC fees, admin fees, and stuff like that, what you guys need to know and understand is that you can charge. So if you hire a TC, you can charge the seller that TC fee. Now, you may, if you pay, you can do it all different ways. If you pay $500 for your TC, you can charge your seller $500. You can also charge your seller $600 and pocket $100 and pay your TC. You can charge your seller $250 and you pay the other $250 to the TC. That's an option and available for you. I will tell you, you might want to work on your scripts with that. If you're charging a seller an extra fee, that maybe if they're interviewing another agent who's not charging them, you kind of got to work your way through that and talk about that. So that's the TC fee. Also, agents do and charge what we call an administration fee. Personally, I think it's a made up number for people to cover the cost of photos and stuff like that. Sometimes they're $2.99, sometimes they're $6.99. I've seen $7.99, but you can do that. And if you want to do that, you have to put it in your ERS or ERB. So exclusive right to sell or exclusive right to buy, and designate that. You can't just do it on here and expect it to be true and valid. This is an estimate, and the ERS or ERB is the contract. So if you want to charge those things, just reach out to me and I'll show you where they have to go into the contract. Thanks for letting me jump in, Bella.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And very good point. So this is, once we've everything in here, and if there's not any other costs that need to be associated here, as Bruce mentioned as well, my recommendation, and again, you can do the same thing, email, print, or text it, but my recommendation is to save it to a PDF. You want to say your detailed estimates. And this is what it looks like. Here's the seller's name, the address, the sales price. This is embedded. I don't think it gives me the option. Let's just take that out. I don't think so. Let me see if I can do, let's save it to a PDF. Oh, I like it, because we don't know what the buyer is going to do, right? At this point in time, and it doesn't matter on the net sheet, because that's going to come through with the contract that the buyer gives. At this point in time, you're really just focused on providing the seller an estimate on what they will receive if they list the house at $725,000. Okay, it shows the escrow settlement, the owner's title policy, the listing agent and the selling agent fees, HOA, here's the water and sewer, the total cost there. The main thing, all of these over here, you know, the first loan, the main thing they do, and it's in bold, is they go to look to see how much money am I going to net. Here's the estimated tax prorations. So originally the tax was, you know, annually it's $35.39. Over here, based on time of when this closes, the estimate is $3204.58. Okay. Down here, and we highly recommend that you do review this with your client and you explain to them, this is an estimate. The estimated tax prorations, everything here is an estimate, and it says that it was prepared by you because you're going to be the one preparing it. If I prepared on your behalf, oftentimes I change this to you because they don't know who I am. So I'll change it to you. So it shows that. And then we encourage you to ask the seller to sign this. And explaining it is an estimate. It doesn't hold them to anything. It's not a contract. When that becomes a benefit for having it signed is, say you list it, and as we know in this market, within a day, you've got multiple offers and they're bragging to all their friends about how many offers they've gotten and how much over asking. And their friends say, why are you paying your agent so much money? You can, and then they come back to you and they ask, why are you charging me so much? You can bring this out and say, you know, when we sat down and talked about it, that wasn't a factor. What's changed? You know, this is what we discussed and the fees, right? So it just kind of helps support you and justify, you know, what you originally spoke about, as well as, you know, and then you'll talk about the other things that why you are getting the fees that you do, because we have to, you know, that's a challenge that happens all the time for realtors. So that is a net sheet. You can create multiples if you want, and preparing to go to a client because you've not seen the house, you're not really sure what you're going to list it, but you've got an idea because you've pulled comps and you have a really good, you could create 2 or 3 of these and save them as your PDF, easily just download them again, and then print them and have them available. So when you go into the meeting, into the listing appointment, maybe, well, there's a few things in the house that you were not expecting, not up to par. And so you want to pull, you know, a little less of a sales price, and you've already created that net sheet so they know. Maybe you did one for 700, 710, 725. Okay. Any questions around that?
No questions, but I think that's a really good point.
Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
You know, I've had some agents say, well, why should I do multiple net sheets? You know, if I'm doing one at 725, why would I do one at 735? Just increase the net by 10,000. No, remember these things are in percentages. So your commissions are in percentages. And so that's not a dollar for dollar, $10,000, right? Because just because the purchase price goes up by $10,000 doesn't mean their net goes up by 10,000, because the commissions also went up. So it's never dollar for dollar. It's usually a little less. So if it's a $10,000, it probably changes to what, maybe $9,000 more in net, something around there.
And your title policy is going to change.
Yep.
That's exactly it. You know, here, let's see, right now their net is 405,925. Let me just take it down to 700. And you can see, oops.
So so it wasn't exactly $10,000 drop.
Yep. Did it not do the, uh-oh. So that came down, but my seller and this disappeared.
Yeah, every time you change it, it disappears.
I know, but it should pull it back. It was working. It was working a second ago. I did something. So to Bruce's point, though, these change, and the title policy is also going to change, and which is going to adjust the net. So it doesn't make sense to just say add 10,000. Anything else around that? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main screen of my first dam. And if you wanted to do a farm or you want to know a little bit more about this property, it is as easy as you need to be able to have sorry, I'm going to switch over here to farming. So I'm still on the property search. I'm going to go to farming. Still has a property up. And over here, you've got some, I don't know, icons, something, but you need to be able to have the pencil to draw. And like if I go in too far out, this pencil is no longer available for me to draw. I need to be able to see the streets and to draw. So I'm just now going to take this pencil and just run along wherever I want to. Oops, that was bad. And once wherever I want to farm, technically. And I know you can do this in your MLS as well. Maybe there's some reasons why you wanted to run it in here. Now we do charge after 100, I think it is $1.50 to get these exported into an Excel spreadsheet. So, and there are some easy ways to do it in your MLS. But if you're just wanting to do some research or find information or to look at particular deeds, you can do that in here. And then, so you can see here, I've got green and blue. The green are owner occupied, the blue are not. And then there are some apartments here as well. So then what I would do, and you see it pulled 271 properties. Over here, this 9%, 25 out of 271 recently sold. I was meeting with another agent within Keller Williams, and you know, he was very interested in this, right? To be able to identify neighborhoods that have activity of where you want to show. And this is in the last 6 months, is the way this is the algorithm. So to show you that, you know, I think Bruce, you might need to help me out here. I can't think of the word I want to say, but, you know, you're looking for neighborhoods that maybe are above 10%, and they show that there's some really good turnover. This will identify that for you easily to show you the turnover in the last 6 months. So over here, if you go to the filter, you can see here land use. I only want to see residential. I don't want to see commercial and both. You can drill down more if you want to, whether you want to see residential, single family residential, and choose that. You can even go back as far as, you know, maybe in the last 12 months, things like that. You can you know, filter it more, filter by beds and stuff. You can filter by non-owner occupied or owner occupied. So I'm going to send a specific letter or postcard to owner occupied for this particular one. I'm going to hit apply. There are probably, so you can see it went down to 223 out of 249. I took out the commercial properties, the apartments. If there were HOA owned properties in here, or park or something, that came out of it. And then here's the list. And you can, by clicking on here, you can pull up the property and you have access to see property details, transaction history, etc. And it's going to just, all the same things we just walked through. Okay. Here's what you can, return to the list if you want to here. This shows you a little bit different view of the property. You can export it to an Excel spreadsheet. You can see here over 100, it's asking me to spend $1.50. You can put your credit card in here, download this, and then you've got an Excel spreadsheet that you can upload into your CRM and you can mark it to it. If you're doing postcards, we always recommend that you do above 200 so that you get the bulk rating, but that's all up to you as well. Okay, so that's really my first dam and capability. As I said, you know, I think being able to pull the actual deeds is important, and creating those net sheets. And I have some cheat sheets. Over here on the left, there's the same navigation, you know, farming. Here we've got cost first. farming if you want to do the map. So you can do the same thing over here as you can do over on the right-hand side, depending on what you're trying to do. I'll go back to property search. I'm just going to exit that farm. Oh, I'm sorry. There was one other thing I should have showed you, and that is on farms, you can also save them. So say I want to know, a particular farm that I'm doing, and I want to go back to and look at that. I can go back and then make modifications to it by just saving it here, and that doesn't cost you anything. Okay. And that would be you. I mean, so these are things I've saved as I've gone through and done various things, but you'd be able to save yours. Questions?
Nice. No, that's a slick system. I love that percentage thing. Very important if you guys are going to farm in a neighborhood. It's probably not in your best interest to farm a neighborhood that's, year over year selling at about, 2 to 3%. Like Valerie said, my target usually is over that 10%. I like the 12 to 16 range if I can find it. And I also, Valerie, I guess maybe one of the questions is that a rolling 12-month percentage?
Yes.
Is there a way to do it to where you can find year over year, like the last 2 years, if you will, like 8% one year and 12% the other year? Because then it's, or let's say the opposite. Maybe it's 15% one year and 7% the other year. That might not be a bad neighborhood. Just because there was 7 in 1 year doesn't mean that it's not going to spike back up because it was 15 the year before.
Yes, I mean, in your filters, you can make changes, but the other thing, and I will mention this too, is when you get into really complicated farms or real specific, the best thing to do is to send me a note and say, these are the things I'm looking for. I can send them on to our marketing department. They are dedicated to pulling these type of farms. So you can ask me things like, I am looking for people that are in an apartment. Maybe the rents in that apartment are over $2,500. And so I'm going to market to them specifically to try to get them into a home. So when it comes to some of those more complex, to answer your question, I think where that would happen is over here in the filter, where you could change the months back, and you'd probably have to pull, let me go, well, it looks like as far back as I can go is 24 months, or I could do sale date, so you could play with it there. But I would recommend that you just send me an email and I ask our marketing department to put that together for you, because it'll be more complex. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, very nice.
Yeah. And they turn things around very quickly. And then I do have a resource as well that can do that type of research and produce phone numbers and emails. I don't know cost that's associated with that, but he's a partner of ours too. So if we've pulled the research and then send it to him and ask for phone numbers and emails, I think that can be a little less expensive. So we've got options. I think that's the thing, that just anytime you need anything, reaching out, and if we can or can't do it, we'll let you know and we'll figure out how to get it for you. Yeah. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So, and I will ask, I don't know if on the calendar invite, Bruce, if I have everybody, I try to write down names, but if I send you the information, if you want to, when you distribute it, copy me on that distribution. Then I can check to see who has access to my first stamp and make sure that I get them access.
Happy to do so.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing I want to tell you is, so that's doing my first stamp on the computer, but we also have a mobile app. You have to set it up on your computer first, make sure you got your password, your cost first is all working and stuff. And then you can download the mobile app, and I have instructions on how to do that. My business partner, Kyle, says it's the best party app ever. And reason being is, if you're, how many times you are around a crowd of people or talking to somebody, you mention you're in real estate and they go, oh, my neighbor's house sold for X down the street. The app it has, GPS associated with it. So it's going to pull up where you are, and you then can pull up the neighborhood. You can pull up the neighbor's address if you know what that is. And you have access to all that same information, your property disclosure and your deed and the transaction history right on your mobile app. So, you know, and everybody always thinks it's more than what, you know, it may have actually closed for, or they saw it listed and they want to know what did it sell for. You know, you can pull that up. So then it shows you really are in tune with what's happening in their neighborhood, their market. And then the follow-up question is, why do you ask? Are you interested in selling? And start that dialogue. So, you know, I'll again get you all access to everything once we've finished this meeting and stuff. Okay, awesome. Questions about that? Nope. Awesome. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Let me see if I can pull up my emails and walk you through an O&E, and if not,
show us how to order one.
Yeah, I'm going to try to. I don't know why my emails just will not pull up on my laptop here. There we go. Bear with me a second. For whatever strange reason, it does not want to pull up on my tab. Should be my email. I cannot get my emails to pop up. Let's see if I turn this on if I can. So nobody has any questions on that? How's everybody feeling as far as the market and getting some activity? So, you know, it only pulled up 100 emails because I've clicked on it a ton. Bear with me a second. Outlook. Other things that we can help with, and you know, I sit down with agents from brand new, just getting started, to experienced agents. You know, there's a number of tools. Farming is a big one that we've certainly have been asked to do and help with. We do have a print service that's very competitive in price, as well as, you know, myself and Kyle like to sit down with agents and talk about a marketing plan and what you're trying to accomplish, what some of your goals are on all of it. So, you know, any of that we are happy to assist with. Bruce, I cannot get my Outlook to pull up on the screen. I don't know if you guys see it or not, but it's just not. It's a message.
Can you email it to me and I'll pull it up on mine?
I can't even get it to pull up so that I can email. I'm like, for whatever reason. Oh, do you have an email from me?
I have an email from you.
Because in the bottom of my signature, it says O&E, order O&E. There's a box.
Of course I have an email.
Strangest thing.
Yep, I got it.
You got one? Do I need to stop sharing?
You're not even sharing.
Okay, I did stop it. Okay.
All right. So as soon as you guys get an email from Valerie, in her email signature right here.
Yep. So my recommendation, if you want to scroll down a little, is All of this sign in now, create new account, don't even bother to do that. It's just better to order it at the time that you need it, and fill out the information, pay your $5, and go from there.
Yeah, see, they have so many things, right? Plat map, deed of trust, CCNRs. CCNRs are your covenants. What does it stand for? Covenants, communities, and restrictions. What the heck is it?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's basically like your non-HOA guidelines for the county.
Yeah. Yeah. But really, you want to just order the O&E because the other things will happen through the title process. You're just looking to see if there's anything on there that you need to be aware of or talk to the seller about.
Yep.
Put in the property address.
Yep. Fill it out, add to cart, pay your shopping cart, you'll get it.
Yep. And
Anything
then it'll
else
ask
on
you
this?
for a credit card. I think probably because we didn't,
Oh yeah, no, I didn't type in anything. I mean,
yeah,
I think
but
I
we
think
typed in
that'd
a,
be
like, yeah, if you just want to put in a, you know, but if you typed in an address, then it's going to come to the part where we do, if there's anything special you need them to know or to look at. What's it missing? Incorrect zip. Oh, didn't pull in the zip. And there's your $5. So then you would just go and check out and put the credit card in, and it'll charge you right then and there.
What's the turnaround?
You created an account. Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
What's the turnaround?
I like to tell you 24 hours. Most of the time, depending on when it's ordered, it's a couple hours. And certainly if it's ordered this way, because it's paid for right away, it's faster, only because if the team gets bogged down in sending out $5 invoices, that kind of messes with their turnaround time. But I usually get them in a couple hours. It would be rare if it would took 24. But if you ordered it on a Friday, it would be business time, so you wouldn't get it till Monday. But yeah. Okay, so that's how easy it is to order one. And I get notified when you order one as well. I do look at them in case there's anything on there that I want to bring to your attention. Or recognizing that you're out in the field, you're doing all kinds of things. So, if it's really critical that you need to know it's there, I can text or let you know as well. But I like to look at them just to help if there's anything you need help with.
Thanks, Valerie.
That's it. I mean, I could go on, but I don't want to. As I said, I'll put together an email and send it so you guys have some supporting documentation. And I'm here to assist if there's anything, if you're doing your first net sheet, if you want to review how to do a farm. It's always different when you're actually hands-on on the computer. So just let me know. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll follow up today, Bruce, so you have that information. Enjoy Ohio and your daughter, and safe travels back.
Thank you. Any questions for Valerie, guys? This is time to ask. Title, I let them do their thing is what I always tell people. But sometimes agents will have questions for sure.
And I'll just leave you too, if you haven't met with any of our escrow officers or, at any point, depending again on where everybody is in the stage, I like to pair you up with a dedicated escrow officer. And we've actually got 3 in our office: Jennifer Engel King, Barb Loomis, and then Kelly Abernathy, Kelly has been in the Longmont area for 30 some years, and she is the water guru and does commercial. So we've got that expertise in our office as well. And Jennifer and Barb have both been doing title for well over 20 years. But, anytime I like to get you set up with them. We can talk about title one-on-one, all those things, so you are knowledgeable when it comes to sitting down with your clients. On the whole process, we're here to partner all the way.
What if I have a listing down in Castle Rock? Do I have to use a local closer down there?
You know what I like to do, and it really does depend on you as the client, but we like to set you up with a dedicated escrow officer, say Jennifer or Barb in our office. They would put all the order together. They would know the file. They would know you, kind of your expectations, things like that. You can close in any of our offices. But our title or our escrow officer more than likely won't be in one of those offices at the time of closing. So that's how I think it's good to set it up, especially if you're doing business from one end of the state to the other. If you're an agent that would prefer to build a relationship in individual offices, we can do that as well. But it's a little more cumbersome. But again, it goes back to kind of client preference. And I find that it's better to have one established EO, and then when you need to close in a different location, you certainly can.
That's exactly what I do. My closer is the same woman every time, every listing. Doesn't matter where it's at, where it's located, and then she'll set up the closing for us in the nearest location that works for my clients. May or may not be her location. So yeah, I think to Valerie's point, for me in my business, it was important to make a relationship with somebody and consistently use them. We all do business different ways, right? They're still doing the same job for you, but each closer communicates differently. They have their own tweaks. They have their own things. I like mine because there is no fluff. It's this and we're done. This and we're done. I don't need a bunch of fluff. So it's a personality dynamic as well. But yeah.
A very good point. And I think we are very fortunate in our office that we have kind of two different types of personalities, as Bruce said. One that is more direct, and just once you send the order in, you know she has it. If she needs something, she's going to reach out, she'll respond, but she's not going to do endless emails and things and keep you abreast of everything that's transpiring. We have another one that's much more in tune to doing that if that's what the client wants, and happy to respond when things are happening and keep you informed as the process is going along, versus just kind of knowing it's coming together and you're going to get it at the end. So that's one of the things that I really do like to understand is working style of the agents and what you prefer as well to match you with somebody. The other thing I was going to say is Kyle puts together stats for all of Northern Colorado. And so if you don't receive his stats list, again, with my contact, if you need access to those, I highly recommend that you do get them. He usually has some great commentary on what's happening. He's been putting stats together for Longmont over 16 years. So he's very knowledgeable on what's going on in the general Longmont, Firestone, Frederick area. But recently started doing Northern Colorado as well as Boulder and Lyons, Niwot, Gun Barrel. We've broken them out because they're all a little different. So any and all of those you can have access to help you with your business as well.
How do we get those?
It's sending me an email, and it's vgraham, Graham at firstam.com. And then I'll make sure you're on the distribution list. The other thing I just want to mention is we are going to have an appraisal class on May 17th that having an appraiser, the realtor and an appraiser, come in and teach just really what they look for in appraisals, especially when there are so many cash offers, 200,000 over asking type of thing. So when those invites go out, if you have an opportunity, it's going to be in Longmont with one of our lenders. I recommend that you try to attend that because I think that's a great education of what appraisers are looking for, especially when it comes to a loan. So when you're writing offers, you know what to expect as well. So plug on that. And that's May 17th, 9 to 1 in downtown Longmont. So I'll put that together as well. Yay, thank you, Bruce. I see that. So I'm just a wealth of information. See, I could just keep going and going, but I understand information overload. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have my contact at any point. I love sitting down with everybody. Keller Williams has a special place in my heart. I was a realtor back in 2015 through 2018 with Keller Williams. Before we moved to Tennessee, and then we returned and I started doing titles. So I'm here to help you with anything you need help with and try to plug you into whatever resource is appropriate.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody have a great day. I think the weather's going to be good.